Open Tape Podcast. We got Donnie back here. He's an inspector
What's up?
right outside of Baltimore. And yeah, man, we're super excited. He's came on here before, and it was a great time before. I think, man, it was right when the freezes happened, and everybody was on calls. I think we had a fourth guy on the show as well, and he was out running service calls. He was on the show through the van. And
yeah, I think it was Wayne, right?
It was a wild time. So Donnie, so what do you do now? Tell us a little bit about yourself for the people who are just now, following the show.
Yeah, man. So probably like 18 to 19 years in the sprinklers right now. But for the last 10, pretty much 90% service inspections. So that's pretty much my daily thing is I'm like mostly inspections. I mean, because I got my level 3, so
Donnie the inspector, baby. Oh, he's got the level 3 in the house. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what were you doing today? I was looking at your Instagram. What's your Instagram again?
Oh man, I don't even. All right. So Bobby knows the history on this, but my old Instagram. Well, you know it too.
I'll get it. Yeah, you were deleted, right?
Yeah, for no, they still haven't given me a reason, and I just kind of like didn't fight it. I already made the new one, and the new one's kind of.
So Donnie got deleted. He was just starting to gain some traction. If you want to get him on Instagram, it's Don_Sprinkler Nerd. He's always posting content. I appreciate the tags. You're always posting videos,
it's
bro.
Fun.
Very good content.
Go give him a follow.
Let's get his following back up.
Instagram
deleted him.
With a test header.
Yeah, I was. So we're on this. It's like right now we're actually on a whole week job. It's like 3 15-story towers, but it's all like one building. It's like a retirement / assisted living facility. So fun stuff because we're going to deal with Joint Commission, I'm sure. So I'm sure they're going to pick my reports apart. But yeah, I found the one yesterday, man. I was actually pretty surprised. We had a NXT 768 that man, the piston was completely seized up, and that's pretty rare for that valve. Now the 756s prior to that's super common because that big brass piston, but with the 768s with the round like little diaphragm that they have on the back now, they kind of did away with that. So it's got to be like a bad actuator, either that or the piston line's just clogged up.
What up, Foreman Teague?
So what
up,
kept
Steve?
Tripping? Is that
what up, Tristan?
The actuator was bad?
I'm assuming the actuator's bad, but it's either that or the priming line's got a bunch of jump. But I pulled the strainer out of the priming line, and it looked pretty clear. So that's usually the case if that's seized. If that's like locked up, it's usually the strainer. But that's got to be the actuator. But I didn't want to fool with it too much because the minute you break that thing loose, then you can't get it reset, and then I'm going to be leaving him wet. I mean, which is probably. I mean, I told the guy, I was like, basically you're this valve is basically impaired. So the zone that it's feeding, really you should do fire watch. But I mean, we can't tell them to do that. We can only encourage it.
Right. Encourage it as strongly as you can.
Yeah. I mean, because like I told him, I was like, if something happens, this valve's 9 times out of 10 is not going to trip. There you go.
You see this?
Open
yeah, we printed. So what we're doing, and I encourage everybody who loves the Dope and Tape show, is to go on there and order like 100 stickers and put them everywhere in your city.
That's what I've been doing. I got a whole bunch of them. So if I see you, I'm giving them to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them with me as well. Movement. I'm gonna put them all over Atlanta.
It's a movement. I can't wait till my hats come in. I just ordered a bunch of stuff myself.
Yeah, this is you guys have definitely taken off since the beginning. That's awesome, man.
We're trying, man. We're having a good time doing it.
It's only been like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I would love to get more involved with you guys, but I'm just always super busy. But
my neighbor is setting off fireworks right now for his kid's birthday. It's kind of late to be doing fireworks, but we'll let it slide, right? We're gonna let it slide. What up, Wayne? If you're joining us right now, thank you. Please hit the like button. It really helps get the video out there to newer people. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We got Donnie, a returning guest. He's an inspector in Baltimore. Donnie, you're a van guy. I see you working out almost every day. Your dad, you are doing it all, huh?
I'm trying, man. It's a struggle sometimes.
You're cooking that good food.
Yeah, food. Oh, and you like dancing? Are you a dancer?
Man, I mean, I like it, but I'm like not that good at it. Like your
I
typical
see
white
I
dude.
see you dancing, bro. That's it. Better than
So,
I'm
so are you
doing.
like a American guy like me, married to
Yes.
a Latin guy, a Latin lady, or
I mean, we're not married yet. We were, so yeah, we're like I guess we're engaged, but I don't know. It's
where's she
sketchy right
from?
now. She's Mexican.
Okay, I
Yeah,
know all
yeah, yeah.
about that, man.
I'm super like I'm super the culture's like super ingrained in me now. I don't know why. I just really enjoy it. I really like Mexican culture. Like everything about it. The music, the food, everything. It's awesome.
That is awesome. I could tell.
We're
I could tell by your
actually
page.
going in I'm going in August again and I'm gonna go to the small town where her parents are from. So it's gonna be that'll be cool.
That is awesome.
It's in Puebla. There's like nothing around apparently like but we're gonna do some other stuff. We're gonna like see Mexico City. So hopefully
Where are you going?
hopefully I come back because Mexico City's pretty dangerous right now.
It's all dangerous to leave the United States, isn't it?
I mean it's just I don't feel like any more threatened there than I did like working in DC or Baltimore. So I
But
guess
see,
I'm good.
you can pass as Mexican though. Like I can't. I am
I
far
mean
from it, but you can pass.
Brian.
everybody
You know?
tells me that like I'm like learning the language. I mean, I'm learning Spanish. Like I practice it every night on an app. So because I want to be fluent in 2 years. Like that's my goal.
That's
But
awesome,
yeah,
bro.
but with that being said, like everybody tells me, they're like, once you learn the language, you're gonna be good because they're like your accent, like the way I'm able to switch up my accent and pronounce words. They're like, you pronounce it perfect. They're like, you sound like you're from like Mexico or El
You could
Salvador
be
or
the
something.
dope and tape translator, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be that good. I'll tell you what, man. Fiance's cousin. That dude is like, it's funny because he came here as a young kid. But anyway, without getting too involved, like in the story, he can like we'll be like because there's some people in her family that don't speak English, and like he'll just be translating back and forth, and I'm like, how do you do it so good? It's like he's just like he should really be working for. I've told him like you should be like a translator for the courts or something. I'm like, because you definitely got
No,
that
yeah,
gift.
absolutely.
That's a good
I
skill
do
to
have a
But
have.
question
anyways,
for you. I'm gonna hit
yeah,
you with a super controversial question. I'm sure you've seen it or heard of it. Is the new fire sprinkler painted code that's coming out on the new code book. So
I haven't actually heard of this, so I'm interested.
yeah, so
Put me
it's
down, man. I'm hip.
basically in
I
a
want
nutshell.
to.
Guys in the comments, find the code and give us the code number. And then but basically it is up to the inspector to interpret if the fire sprinkler head is uh it is inoperable.
Yeah.
See, I don't I don't like that. And the reason I don't like that is because I feel like you're putting all of the responsibility on the inspector. And I'm not an engineer, neither are most inspectors. You know what I mean? So that's why I because the way code was written and before it even gets into like even NFPA 25, it says like as you the inspector on site should be able to deem like coverage issues. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't have a degree in fire protection engineering, so the fact that I mean, like, yeah, if a head's super painted, obviously, like I know it's 9 times out of 10 going to need replaced because that paint covering that head is going to affect the. It's not going to affect if the head's going to go off because unless it's like completely splattered in paint, it's probably going to still go off. But it's going to affect the time. You know what I mean? That it's going to the reaction time because that paint is now providing a border between that fusible link or that glass bulb, which would expand much quicker because it's metal or glass than if there's paint on it, which is obviously like dries up almost like plastic. So, but like if it's like a slight bit of overspray or something on the body of the head, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. You know what I mean?
And this is
I got
where
the code right here. Just trying to sift through to the good part. Keep talking.
this is
Is
where
this
I think this is what will happen, in my opinion, and from what I've seen. Um, so if there's some spray, you're gonna have you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's still fine, right? I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. And then on the ones that are obviously covered, you're like, I'm not good with that.
The
But
new
here's where the big problem's gonna be when those new inspectors come through and they got the flashlight and then they're seeing the painted sprinkler head that the engineer has went the year before that and cleaned it. Cleaned it with a solvent.
Oh
And
wow.
when they clean it with the solvent, all you really see, especially if it's good engineer and he cleans it really well, all you'll really see is like a little ring of white underneath the seat. And you'll see that on the other on like the back side of the seat on and inside the seat where the brass is, and that's just indication that it's been cleaned. So a new inspector will be like, "Oh, there's paint, but it's not that much." But it's actually detrimental because I don't know if you've seen this one. And now
But I thought the code says you can't clean with solvent. So can you clean with solvent?
100% no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Do
Because I was like, I thought that was like code was like strictly
okay?
against that. It was like
Yeah, no,
almost like I preached to guys like about like for example when you get a dry valve with like a shitty clapper that's like just went to shit. Sorry for my language, but when you just get like a dry valve clapper,
Swear
it's just
away.
like trash. It's just like guys want to put grease on it to get it reset, and I'm like, you guys need to read the code book or at least have a knowledge because it strictly tells you not to put grease on stuff like faceplate gaskets or clappers. Like it's like a no.
So the new
yeah,
code, the literature that's in the code is that if it's detrimental to sprinkler performance, and the inspector is now going to be the judge on that, if the sprinkler head
Yeah,
is going to be detrimental or not. And how do you know?
I'm just not a fan of
yes,
that. Like I said, because like they're putting all the blame on us. I mean, like at the end of the day, like we're not engineers. We didn't design that sprinkler head. I mean, because I'm sure if you look at the manufacturer specs, they're going to say anything on that head deems it inoperable.
So here
So
we
it's like,
are. A little paint
100%.
corrosion and loading can be okay in certain cases, but how much of this material qualifies and where? It's one thing to know that not every painted, corroded, or loaded sprinkler head needs to be replaced. It's another to make a judgment call about when these new sprinklers are necessary.
don't touch.
So it's a
So
lot.
what will happen is, like I said, is the engineers will clean it. They're not supposed to, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They're going off of bottom line budgets, and they're gonna clean it. New guy inspector comes in, and then he sees just a little bit about in the back side and the front side of the seat, and he just sees a little bit. But I gotta ask you, have you ever tried to open up a window that's been painted? Good
Oh
luck.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
you're not gonna get open, and then who are you to
Well,
say
that's
that
like
that's not on,
I had an
pass?
I had an engineer one time tell me
Have you ever
that
tried to open a window that's painted? I love that one.
yeah, it's tough, or a door or anything for that matter. I mean, it's tough.
100%.
It is. So I had an engineer one time ask. I wrote up a bunch of his sprinkler heads that were on a loading dock. It was heated, but it was like a ton of moisture and condensation just from doors opening all the time and stuff like that. So like they were all corroded like so bad, and I'm like, he's like, you're just being picky. You're just trying to write me up for stuff. I'm like, dude, listen. I'm like, corrosion is like one of the leading failures of sprinkler heads. I'm like, because it's electrolysis. I'm like, you're getting two different types of metals that get all that corrosion, that green nasty corrosion in there. I'm like, it can literally like stop a head from going off. I mean, it might not. It probably won't, but it could.
Did you know at
Yeah.
the Union Hall there's an American flag made of sprinkler pipe and the heads for stars? Where do I find a picture? We are
Union Hall,
live.
where?
I don't know. It's Tyson firing off. It's
I
Tyson
would
firing
imagine
off
there's a lot
questions
of
to the
Union
text.
Halls.
I wonder if that's at my
I
union
think
he's
I
talking
think I,
about.
lo- I think I lost you guys for a minute. Sorry. I don't know if it
Oh,
was my
No, it's
phone or not.
okay.
oh, we still got
Sorry.
you.
Now remind us, who brought you in to fire protection? Like you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, so it's a crazy story, but um, so back in the day, my grandfather, he was a union carpenter, and he used to hang out at this bar all the time in Laurel in Maryland, which is like directly in between Baltimore and DC. Anyways, through him being in there all the time, he met friends. It was like a known sprinkler hangout. So a foreman at a pretty big, well, he was a superintendent. at a pretty big fire protection company called National Fire Protection. He was there and he was like, my grandson needs a job, or is anywhere y'all hiring? He's like, actually, I need apprentices. So that's kind of was my start. So
Nice.
Wow.
I did work union for about 4.5 years, and I was kind of a hothead apprentice. Um, I was just I was pretty just crazy. Like my marbles weren't all there as a youngster.
We've all had
I
that
was
moment.
just
We talked about our time on
I
the
was pretty
show
bad,
before.
man. If you knew like people that knew me as a young kid, they would be like, "What the hell?" It's like, dude made like a 360-degree 180-degree turnaround. Because Leo, sorry, my toddler's touching my phone. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, that was my start. So I started with the union company, and I got out for like about 7 years, and worked for some small non-union outfits, and then got into inspections about 11 years ago, going on 12 years ago, and um, it's kind of been like I loved inspections and service. I was like, man, this is my niche. If I'm gonna stick doing this work, this is what I got to keep doing. And then I just kind of like dove into it, and I really just liked it. I liked it every day. I liked the flowing water. I like, all the stuff like that.
Finding the problems.
Yeah, I
You
like,
guys get to
and I
find the problems as the inspectors, and that's the cool aspect.
yeah, and I like not even just being able to find it, but I like giving the customer or trying to give the customer. Now, not all companies get on board with this, but for the last two companies I've worked with, they've pretty much given me free reign to like, do my inspections the way I deem. But I'll tell you what, man, like I like to provide like a solution. You know what I mean? Like a better solution than what they have. Like, for example, like if you got like this big ass freaking old crusty ass OSNY valve and it just like won't shut because it's seized up. Like I'd much rather give you a butterfly valve. You know what I mean? Or like, or like if it's, for example, like that 768 drive valve that was seized up the other day. Like, if we can give you something better, or I can provide you something that I know is going to last you a longer time, I feel like, and whether you bite or not, like Brian said, a lot of these customers are just they want whatever's the cheapest. But you'd be amazed. I mean, some customers will. They'll be like, yeah, well, if this is going to last us a lot longer, we'll go on board with it. But a lot of guys, I just feel like they don't really like. Not, I shouldn't say a lot of guys, but I feel like people like just don't want to like ask like, hey, we could give you this, and this will last 10 years compared to this, and will last like two. You know what I mean?
What's up,
Yeah,
Beetle? Who are you,
what that
Beetle?
comes
What
down
up?
to is if the customer trusts you. That
Yeah,
like how your relationship is with that customer, and if there's trust is if they'll do that. Is if they don't
He
trust
says
you, they will not care at that point.
we
They'll still
got
would
Beetle
yeah,
on
but they
YouTube.
pay
He
you.
says if you can pee, you can join the 853 Glorified Plumbers. Thanks for your comment. You're probably just jealous. We appreciate you though. Hit the like button while you're in there.
You can pee.
If you can
That's what they
pee, you
call it.
can
That's
join
what they.
the 853. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've
If you
heard
can
so
fog
many
a
like
window.
I've heard so many like arguments about like non-union versus non-union. It's like a huge controversy, and for me, like, I mean, if I ever had to go back non-union, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but for me, and the benefits just like far outweigh.
You're
I mean,
669 now, Donnie?
yeah,
669. We got a lot of 669 guys that are following us. And
yeah.
when
I mean, there's
we get
just
busy in Boston, and when the 550 bench clears, so to speak,
yeah,
we pick up 669 travelers,
yep.
and they pick up our rate, and they love it. Sometimes we keep them. Sometimes they're able to transfer in.
I mean, yeah, city locals are definitely like if you in an area where the union is strong, city locals I'm sure are definitely
At
better.
the end
I
of the
know, Boston.
day, we are all screwing that black pipe, baby, putting food
Yeah,
on the table. That's what I say
exactly.
too. If you're in a city and you're in an area where all the unions are strong, the electrical, the carpentry, the flooring, the painting, if every union is strong, then I recommend joining a union. But if
Yeah,
you're out
I
in
mean, like,
fucking Kansas and you only got just one union that's doing good, it might be
right.
good, it might not be good. Just
Or in
weigh
Georgia,
it out.
Yeah, I never knock guys that are like non-union just because I've worked both, and I know that. Like, I'll be honest, like I learned a shitload more working non-union. When
Same.
I was in the union, I was just a pipe dog. I was literally just like, Yeah,
We got
go
a
do this,
lot
go
of
do that,
knowledge in
go
the
do this.
non-union. You kind of just
Yeah.
got sent out to the wolves as a first year, you
Yep.
know?
Same. Yeah. I mean, I literally left the union as still an apprentice, and I went to work for this small company. And the guy was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to pay you a little less than what you're making, but I also need you to run work." And I'm like, "Oh, wow. All right, fuck it, let's go."
The
Yeah.
apprentice
So
foreman.
Dude, I remember
some of
like
the
I
things
like
that I
remember my
see
first
with
job I ran. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember my first job I ran like as a foreman, like coming from like I said, being an apprentice and just being on big jobs all the time, like install jobs. My first job was like a 5-story hotel. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't small. And they were like, it was just me and a green helper. I'm like, this is gonna fucking suck.
You got it done though.
And it
no,
was being
so
run by like these general contractors that were like from New Jersey, but it was in Baltimore. And they were like, man, how do I say this without offending anybody? They were like some Middle Eastern dudes, right? And they were like their own general contractor and everything. And we would like leave on a Friday and like we would come in on Monday and they would have added rooms like all over the place. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how that shit's working in Jersey, but here in Maryland, that shit is not going to fly with the state fire marshal that's inspecting this.
Wayne says UA strong. We got Turpy Daniels in the comments. He says, I love Don's content. I'm an apprentice myself doing inspections, testing, and maintenance slash repair, and his videos on tips and tricks for resetting dry valves and things are greatly appreciated.
that's
Awesome,
awesome.
man.
Just
It's
you know,
not,
no
that's what
one
it's
else is
all
doing
about,
that.
man.
Huh?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
There's
it's
not a
all
lot of
about.
people posting sprinkler content. Now that we're out there, and everybody is.
This,
Post it.
this is the
Shout out to
whole
my new,
reason for Dope and Tape. This is the whole reason they
yeah,
created community because we had
shout out
nothing.
shout out to my new apprentice that I just got with me. He's been with me for almost a month now. He's a friend of mine for quite a few years. Super smart with cars, and they were looking for apprentices at my company, and I'm like, you should give this guy a shot. Like, I'm like, he's a little older. I'm like, but he wants to start something new. I'm like, he's not really like thinking long term at his job that he's at. I'm like, so he's kind of want to start something new, and it was like it was like a great decision. I mean, he's just like caught on right away. He's already like, I mean, I feel, you ever just have that apprentice and you just feel comfortable letting him go? Like, I feel like that with him already after a
Some of
month.
them
And
just
I
get it
know that's
quick.
like, yeah, he just did. He just like picked it up super quick. But he's been getting a lot of like, I'm like, look, man, when you're like, if you're able to, like when you're doing stuff, I'm like, grab content of like flowing water and grab content of me like doing stuff. And he's like all on board with it, and he's even posting stuff on his page. So he's like, I mean, it's like awesome. So it's because it's hard to get it sometimes when you're on. Just like I know you don't do many inspections, Bobby, but Brian can attest to this. Like sometimes you're just scrambling because like you got to be at 3 places at once. Especially if you're tripping a bunch of valves and doing a bunch of stairwells and all that shit at the same time.
I need a third
It's like
arm so I can fucking have it
yeah,
videotaping me at all times,
When I
baby.
would go do the inspections, I would start with whatever sucks the most or takes the most time or something I don't want to do. Like I would just hit it the first thing.
That's how I do my
Get it
my
out of the
day
way.
work. Same thing. If I'm going in to do
Yeah,
ad relocates, but you gotta like relocate this one line, I'm going right after the shittiest thing first, and then like coasting.
get it out of the
if
way.
time like if everything scheduling wise allows, I always do the pump first because the way I look at it is like I need to rule out of any water issues with that pump first, like any kind of suction or discharge issues. If there's like an issue with the pump, I want to know that right away because if there is it at and I'm like I don't want to start full tripping dry valves where that pump's going to be running all day and it's already sucking down to like 10 psi or whatever or something crazy because we've been I don't know if you guys have been dealing with this, but ever since COVID, we've been dealing with a lot of water issues. Like, I don't know if they just did a ton of work during COVID and I've left. I mean, like 5 or 6 pumps in the past year, man. Of like I've had to like you got to we can't get 150%, but it's got it all these other years. Like you need to call the city and have the municipal water company
That's a
come out
lot.
here and just double check.
They pulled some
It's
underground. They had this issue and they pulled some underground. They thought that the valve was
100%.
partially, they thought the valve was stuck partially shut, and it's just the cake and the buildup on the inside of the pipe. It takes a
Yeah,
6-inch pipe and it makes it 3-inch, and that's
yeah,
all you're getting.
especially if you're not flushing enough. You know what I mean?
Well, see, you're
Because
also in a very, I would say, democratic state. So how was it during COVID there? Like, was it? I'm sure you
um,
are all running work, but I don't know how the cities were.
so it was weird for like I'd say 3 weeks to like 6 weeks. Like we were really unsure. Like a lot of buildings were kind of just shut down, and they were like, well, we're not going to allow nobody in. We're not going to do any testing. And then it kind of just picked back up, and like, I mean, we're just in a lot of empty buildings. It's crazy. But now we're seeing the big switch in our area from, because like they say DC's like the number one work at home state, whatever. But anyways,
That makes sense. Yeah.
you're seeing the big switch to residential. I mean, everything that they're throwing up around here lately is residential. So it's like just transitioning from big office buildings to residential. I mean, there's just building huge residential condo complexes everywhere. Like,
All right, I gotta ask you guys a little side question. If you guys know what a bubbler is.
a bubbler,
A bubbler.
a bubbler.
Yeah, what's a bubbler?
I'm lost. I
No?
have to admit it.
It's a bubbler, kid. So you go and you're in a public place and you go to a bathroom, right? There's a men's room and a ladies' room, and right in between it, there's a spot you go if you're parched. You get a little sip from the old bubbler. No?
Bubbler.
What do you guys call that thing?
Water fountain? A water fountain? What are you talking about right now?
It's a fucking bubbler. I'm telling you.
Bubbler.
That's what we call it up here.
I swear, man. People in their fucking Boston's and their fucking shit that they make
So
up.
if you got, say you got like a steak and cheese, a ham and cheese, an Italian, it's on a long loaf of bread, and you got all the fixings in it. What do you call that thing?
That's a hoagie.
How about you, Bri?
You guys calling that a hoagie up there?
Yeah. I remember you asking me last night, and I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. So if you like, you getting a steak and cheese or a ham and cheese, like what do you call that? A large sandwich?
Sandwich. Yeah.
Nah, it's a grinder.
Or if it's like a long like sub, it's a sub. You know.
Oh, it's a grinder. I said, Brian, do you know what grinder is? He goes, yeah, it's an app. No, like
Bobby's on it every Tuesday.
Wife will be like, "What do you want to get to eat?" And I'll be like, "I could go for the steak and cheese grinder." Or when you're passing by the restroom, you're like, "Hold on, let me get a sip. Let me get a sip from the bubbler."
The bubbler. Hey, just say park the car in the yard.
No, you got
the car. Parked it.
You got to park the car in the Harvard yard.
That shit always makes me laugh.
Park the car in the Harvard yard.
Where it's like the car parks itself. It's like in the harbor, parked it. And
That was pretty good, bro.
Check this out. So the job I was doing today, did y'all see my story? They piped the so the garage, right? We were in the garage. So there's two. So this building is big. Like I said, there's 8 dry systems. There was 2 fire pumps. One feeds I think the building was probably built in phases.
What up, Tyson?
The one, I think the one fire pump probably wasn't enough to handle the second phase, so they added it in. And anyways, the fucking second fire pump, guys, they piped the test header in the garage. And I told the engineer, I'm like, I mean, I've seen it like one other time and I hated it. I'm like, but it's the other garage.
So what, you got to run hoses, or you just flow it in the garage?
Flow it in the garage. Dude, we would have had to have 1,000 fucking feet of hose to run that thing outside. The entrance was like way on the other side. So I've seen it one other time. I've done it one other time, but the garage was like not a real garage, if that makes sense. It was just like an overhang, and the garage was outside and below grade, but it was like not attached to the building, if that makes sense.
How about when the test header's in the pump room?
Oh, that doesn't. I've seen that's like pretty freak. That's like, I'd say.
I hate that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, as long as it's like accessible.
I've done a new install where that's how it was designed. That's how it was supposed to be.
But
just got all the outlets in the corner of the room, and you got to run all the hose out.
Yeah, no, this one was in the garage, and I told the engineer there's like boxes all over the place on the floor in the garage, and it's like, like I said, it's like an assisted living place. There's like stuff everywhere, and I'm like, I told the engineer, I'm like, are you sure this isn't? He's like, the floor drains can handle it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. So I told my apprentice, I'm like, look, this is what we're gonna do. I'm like, we're gonna churn the pump, and I'm gonna flush. I'm gonna flush it out, and then I'm gonna shut down the test header just in between. I'm like, I'm gonna do a flush, then I'm gonna do my 100%. I'm gonna shut down. I'm gonna do my 150%, shut back down, like let the water recede, and then I'm gonna do my transfer test, and then obviously done. But I'm like, look, like, this is crazy. But the floor drain was holding the water. Surprisingly, we let it recede. But man, if we would have kept that thing going the whole time, like the water was already starting to creep up to the door where the elevator lobby was. And I'm like, this would have been bad. If it went in the elevators and like goes up and fills that pit, I'm like, we're going to be on the hook for that. I'm not doing that.
That's
I've,
awesome.
I flooded out like one thing, like a bad, like I flooded something bad. Like, and it really wasn't my fault, but I guess it was my fault because I didn't look where the water was going. But obviously, when my apprentice is outside, I can't be two places. So we were in
Right.
DC and we were doing this big. It was like a food bank, like a warehouse, a huge warehouse. They had like a 1,500-gallon pump, so we had to run all these hoses out to the street. It was like probably like 200 foot of hose per stream. It was a lot, and when I guess it was a 1,500 pump, so we're doing 150. Everything was going smooth, but the water started to like crest over over the curb. And when it did that, like instead of like you would think that like when you would build a garage, you'd build the house up off grade, and then the garage would go like up, to go into your garage. But no, this one went down into the garage, and it like flooded like 6 people's garages, and they were like outside fucking screaming at us. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? What do you do when it fucking rains hard? That's what I want to know.
Did you
Sometimes it's
you
just
don't have to
bad
answer?
designs, man.
Yeah, and then a lot of
Well,
times
it wasn't
as an
really on us
inspector,
because
we
it's
have
just like,
to
I mean,
as an
what would they
inspector
have
we
done if the
have to
water
look
main broke?
at
You know what I mean?
situations like that,
Yeah, for
and
sure. Yeah. I mean, it's
sometimes
definitely,
get them to send you an email before you do
yeah, it's,
things that that I might be
yeah,
it might be a
yeah,
problem. Send me an
Yeah.
email
Sa-
saying to go
yeah.
ahead.
It's funny how they'll rethink when they say, "Oh yeah, just go ahead, you're fine." Be like, "All right, can you send me an email and give me permission?" They'll be like, yeah, like yeah, it's not that fine, right? You won't put in a fucking email."
Yeah. Or I even
Yeah,
used
I
to
got
have,
that as so we did a it was like add relocate heads for a new build out for a new company that was coming into this building on like a corner of a busy road. And I was gonna go over there, do the inspection of the work. And I failed it because they never had a 5 year. So my manager was like, go ahead and pass it. This is crap. You're just looking at our work and everything, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? I would love to do it. I'll just give them a compliance tag. All I need is you to send me an email. And then he started getting pissed. I was like, bro, it's not a big deal, man. Just send me an email and I'll do it. Email was never sent. He said, just get out of there. I'll do it.
Yeah. Send me the email.
Send me an email.
yeah, because it's all about the tissue industry.
You have to
Fucking
protect
crickets,
yourself,
kid.
especially in life
Yeah.
safety. And then also you have property damage, which you looked at today. You have to protect you, your company, your reputation, because it's
Yep.
really easy, especially in trades, all trades, to point figures at this guy or that guy.
Yep.
It's tradesmen, especially I would say number one guys who are like the art of pointing fingers
It was that
are
guy. It was
GC.
the guy before. That's why I
Yeah,
don't like when
GCs are like bah bah bah
I
bah
don't
bah.
like
It's
when
this guy,
companies
that
set
guy,
it up where like
his fault.
one guy does the mains and then you got a branch line crew and then you got a pipe in the heads crew and then you got the testing crew. I hate that because every new crew is blaming the guy that came before. I don't
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's whoever's running the job, you keep him there from the start and whether or not he's seen it or he let it go or one of his guys fucked him, he's got to take the blame. It's his job.
I was blaming them guys today. I was like, who the fuck installed this job to put the test header in the garage? Fucking jackasses.
I know.
It was them, those bastards. All right, so let's hit the apprentices with a word of advice from the two inspectors. Some new advice for any maybe up and coming apprentice that's trying to do testing and inspection.
Just for me, take pride like in what you do. Like get educated, like pick up 25 and read it, like even if it's just like browsing through
Even if it's one page a day.
and
Even if you can fit in one page a day,
yeah,
right?
like even if it's just the basics, like knowing what you're working on, like look at code because once you start diving into code, you'll realize that a lot of the shit you've been doing for many years is fucking wrong. Like you're doing it wrong. There's a right and a wrong way. I mean, there's everybody has different ways of doing shit, but if you're doing it per code, it doesn't matter. Like if you're doing it a different technique than I'm doing, but at least do it per code. You know what I mean? and take some pride in your shit, man. Like, take some pride in what you do. Like, don't like just go in somewhere and like hurry, trying to hurry. I mean, I'm the number one guy that tells you I want to go home. Like,
Yep.
when I get to that, I'm already thinking how quick I can get that job done to get the fuck out of there. But
That's
I've
what I
learned
want to do.
that like I have like a system now that I usually go with. Like I said, when I go into a building, I'm like fire pump. If there's dries, I do dries. Then I do stairwells. Then I do hose valves last. So it's like that's just my system. But somebody else could do
Yeah.
it the
So
exact opposite, and it's not wrong. But just make sure you're like doing shit per code. And I mean, like I said, but have some pride in your shit. But learn to be like I try to be efficient, like quick, as quick as I can get the fuck out of there. But also, I try to catch every single thing that I
There's
can on
10
the
ways to
way
skin a
out.
cat.
Donnie, like 100%, like everything you said is exactly what I would do. Like even when my apprentice, we had him on here on the show, and me and him, as soon as we roll up, we're out of the truck,
Yeah,
rocking and rolling, and we would get done as with plenty of time. And then I left. He got with another guy, and I was like, how long are y'all at the job for? He's like, dude, we're there all day, like
shit.
like 8 hours. I'm like, what? Like we would
Some
get there at 9, we were home at 3. Like we were getting
yeah,
it done,
Getting it done, kid.
yeah, I hate nine
especially when we
o'clock.
It
get
doesn't
dialed
When they
take
in.
8 hours to do 8 hours of work.
when they send me
Sometimes.
in when 9 o'clock starts, I'm like automatically ready to pull the gun out of the closet and blow my fucking head off. I like 6 o'clock starts, baby. Like, give me the
Let's
earliest
go.
shit, man. Give me
Six.
the
I
four
love that
o'clock.
shit.
I don't give a shit. Like, if it's after 6 o'clock, I'm already irritated. But I mean, I get it. It comes inspections. You got to give and take. You know what I mean? I know that like I know that every job being going to start at 6 because especially getting into more of the residential stuff, they do
Turpy
not like
Daniels.
this.
Definitely not inspections.
Turpy
No
Daniels is
way. That's like
back.
8, 9 o'clock.
I got I got level 2 NICET, and I have 2 guys that I work with doing it 20 years and don't know some of the things I do based on codes. See how much stuff has been missed over the years. That's what I'm saying, man. A lot of guys get their code from like sitting on a
Yeah,
bucket at coffee from guys who don't know the fucking code.
yeah, for
That's not
sure.
that's not a spot to get your code. If you want to know the answer, there's a fucking book for it, and you open it and you fucking read it, and then you'll know the answer definitively to yourself, not what fucking Larry
Yep.
says on the
And I
bucket
will
next to you.
tell you, Brian can attest to this, I'm sure. But like anything that's not explained clearly through code, if you look in that annex hard enough for that chapter and that subsection of what you're looking for, you can find it. The annex like explains everything. It's wild. Like I didn't even know that
100%.
until I
Yeah.
started like dwelling into that. You know what I mean with the level three because level three has a lot of shit in the annex on it, and it's a lot of weird questions on the level three, like stupid shit, like a lot of foam shit, a lot of tank shit, like shit that I don't normally deal with. So I was like, I definitely had to like do my research on it. I was nervous as hell for level three. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I'm gonna fail this fucking thing.
Anybody
But I
watching?
Dude,
You
I
got any
survived.
failed it.
questions? Send the
I failed
questions
level
in. We'll
3
answer them live.
twice.
You failed the level 3 twice?
Yeah, probably by like I barely failed. They show you like your score, barely
It's a
failed.
tough test. I mean, it's not like super.
No.
It's not like I'm not gonna say it's like impossible or try to scare anybody away from it, but it's definitely a difficult test. Like it's
Which it
definitely the
should be.
level two.
Study
Like
up.
yeah, it should be. How do you guys feel about a well, I know this really doesn't pertain too much to you, but how do you guys feel about individual licensing? Well, I guess it could have pertained to you even for install. How do you feel about that on like a state and nationwide level even?
What
You
do you
think they
mean?
So,
should
for example, for Georgia,
individual license?
I
Like
I I'm
yeah. So
totally for it.
Georgia,
I
like
think
my
it
backflow is
everybody should
mine.
have it. I'm with it.
Yeah, my backflow is my license. My state license, like Georgia, issues me an inspector's license.
In Massachusetts,
okay.
you cannot work on or test sprinkler systems unless you have a license. You
So
can't
They
work under
cannot do
somebody else.
inspections unless you have a number.
Virginia just adopted that like kind of system, but they haven't really implemented it yet. Like it's still, I think it's still like on a county by county basis if they want to enforce it. But you're supposed to have at least an ISET level two with so many work, and you're supposed to provide them like a whole work history to have like a license to the Department of Labor of Virginia. But DC or Maryland, they haven't done any of that. I mean, you're supposed to hold at least an ISET level two in DC and Maryland to do inspections on sprinkler systems, but there's really nobody enforcing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing with Alabama. Like they have a tagging system,
Right.
but as far as like the individual inspectors, not requiring a number.
I don't like when like one person has the license and then like a bunch of people get to work under that license. I want
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
Well,
with a
you
that's
can send
license.
anybody. 6 months as as an apprentice. Like, all right, you're cool. Go, go
No,
handle some garden style
mhm.
apartments.
I don't like
It's
that.
fine.
Everybody should be doing an 8,000 hour apprenticeship to get a
So many
state license.
variables
Yeah.
and water damage. You can't send
Do
a
your eight
guy
thousand hours
less
and
than
get your
2
state
years.
license, and then you can work on sprinklers unsupervised, unchaperoned.
Yeah.
I definitely
Right?
agree. Absolutely.
What do you guys think in
Yep.
the comments? How's the stream coming in? You like how I got the logo there on the side now? We're learning. We're learning. We got the merch is up on our website. If you want to get a hat or a sticker or something, go
I'm gonna
ahead.
be wearing like that nonstop dope and tape stuff like every day.
I ordered one. I
It's
ordered
gonna
one
drive my
of
wife
every.
crazy.
I ordered one of every
So
hat.
what are you guys involved in right now? Like what are you doing on a day to day at work?
Fun.
Well, I
Sprinklers.
we're doing dope
She
and
said
tape stuff.
sprinklers.
A lot of sprinklers. A
Uh
lot of family. A lot
Sprinklers.
of Instagram. I'm on Instagram
No,
for
I mean
hours,
that's what I'm
bro.
saying. Like, what kind of jobs are you guys on right now? Like, that's what I should have been clear at work. Like, what are you doing? Sprinkler work.
I'm
That's what I told my
doing
apprentice the other day. He's like, "What are we doing today?" I'm like, "Sprinkler work."
Oh, that was my favorite. I had an old guy that said that to me every fucking day, and then now I'm the guy that says it. What are we gonna do today? I'll probably do some sprinklers, kid. I'm just doing my dang hospital jobs. A lot of like doing a lot of pendants to uprights, and they're changing out to these like fancy ceilings, or they're changing out the VAV. So each individual patient room has its own HVAC system, and to do that, they take the ceiling down. I got to put the heads upright, and then a week or two goes by, and then I put those same heads back down to a pendant, and they pay me both times, and I'm
Yeah,
usually in a sensitive area, but it's like fairly easy work, but I'm typically alone. But I got a big job that's starting up.
that's
Boston
super
Medical.
impressive. How much they're involved with the whole like turning stuff to uprights. Because I've been in buildings where like they've had ceilings down for 10 years and their heads are still like pendants, and I'm like, you
No, so
guys need
there's
to turn these fucking things up.
the hospitals have third party that they hire. There's a few of them like probably in
Yeah,
every
you got Joint
hospital,
Commission, right?
Joint Commission, and all the permits and everything go through them. And as soon as they know there's
Yeah,
construction going on, they'll be down there and they'll
yeah.
fine you
Joint
if
Commission
they
don't
take the
play.
ceiling down a day early. They'll find them. So
So that
literally, I'm literally going there. This when I show up, the ceiling is completely in. I pop my tile, I spin it up, and then as I progress through the space, there's laborers following me taking the tiles out, and then
nice.
there's
I
demo
feel
guys
like
following him taking the
that's
ceiling
nice.
down. It works out great. It's
I feel
usually
like it
like
is. It's super organized.
it's typically a clusterfuck. Like there's a lot of people in a little area because like the electricians
I've,
are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to take their lights out of the ceiling and make safe, but they also got to put up temp lights. You know,
the last
everybody's disconnecting from the ceiling.
the last non-union outfit I worked for before I got back into the union, they did a ton of hospitals. So I never really got too involved with that on the service end. I would go help them out with pumps and stuff every now and then doing testing, but I'm sure it's very similar here because Joint Commission. I knew they're pick like the building I'm at now, that assisted living place. That Joint Commission oversees that. So because it has a medical facility in
Well,
there.
they'll be coming and they'll be measuring how far my hangers are from the end, and they're looking for
Yeah,
surge clips and they're looking for pipe labels. There's people like, and they went to school for this shit, so they know what they're looking for, and they're in the specs. Which typically, I don't know if you how much install you guys do, but if you're like a big time install guy, you're typically not like involved with the specs.
right.
Whatever your company's sending out is usually already sifted through, and they're usually sending you out the spec item. I recommend checking the spec for yourself, but if you
Yeah,
ask your company
100%.
to be responsible, if you say to your company, send me the spec, just know that now if you miss something, you're going to be now responsible for missing it.
Yeah,
Whereas if you leave that
exactly.
spec in the hands of your office, then they missed it. It kind of can take the liability. We were talking about blame game.
Yeah,
If you
that's
have
so
the
much.
spec and you miss something, it's going to be on you.
Even with install, like you said, I mean, I felt like I didn't really have probably the passion back then that I have now for the trade either. But I feel like it's so dumbed down. Like it's like you said, all the homework's kind of done. Not always, like not so much in your situations with the hospitals and all that. And you
Right.
also care, so you probably do look at shit every now and then, especially if you see a new product that you've never seen before. Like take the time, you know what I mean? Pull up the literature on that shit and just see.
Like
There
that
may be
first
some
time I
shit.
used that Vic Flex hose. You
Yeah,
know, I read the little paper that came with it and looked at it, and I was posting about it, and everyone who used it was telling me about it. I think when I show up to a brand new job where it's just when you're installing, man, you find that tie down point, nice little corner to start with the main, lock
yeah.
that corner in, or put up that first branch line, and then I'm just going. I want to just do main until it's done.
I want to see you out there with the torque wrench too, torquing all them Vicks down.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I'm just
shit.
teasing. Dude, I was like, we did a job. One of my last install jobs was at NIH down in DC. I mean, in Bethesda, right outside of DC, but it's National Institutes of Health. They're the ones doing all the vaccine research and shit like that. But dude, they made us come back, pull all these groove couplings off, and put them back on. Fucking measure them with the groove tape, and then they made us fucking torque them all. I was like, what the fuck
Oh,
is going on right now?
did you guys fuck one up?
No, they just like their inspector was like a third party, like you said, but he was for the government,
I
and he was
bet you
just like,
to do all that, he probably like found a groove on the ground that was fucked up. Because we do jobs for
oh,
we do jobs for MIT, and there's multiple people, and these guys literally walk around with a groove tape. And when you go on coffee, they're measuring like your scraps. They're measuring like the piece that's on your lift that you're gonna put up after break.
yeah. That's why you need to, I guess, set that groover, like make sure that shit's on point.
I think we had a groover that like made perfect grooves every time. It was
Yeah.
very expensive. We might have rented it. But yeah, they were on point there. We weren't allowed to cut rod with the bandsaw unless it was in the vice bench.
Have you ever used the cut, like the real cut groover, like it has like a tooth on it, and it's like for Schedule 40, and it like
Oh yeah, I posted a video about that a while back. Maybe I'll bring it back and put it in tomorrow's reel.
I used that. I used that. That was one of the last install jobs I did too. It's all government shit. I mean, their government requires Schedule 40 and OSNY valves for like everything. It was a pain.
I just happened to be at the shop stocking up, and I could hear the machine just screaming, and I went in there, and they were cut grooving 4-inch Galvy, Schedule 40.
Yeah,
It's
it's
cool.
pretty wild.
Big
Yeah, it
die
is
head.
neat. Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be looking at some military stuff.
Oh yeah,
Some,
you pricing it up?
yeah, for inspections.
There
Um,
you go.
it's the
Are you like
same
all around?
facility, huh?
You like go out, price the job, then go back and do the job too for your company?
I do not hold a wrench anymore.
Oh, that's cool.
We've had several talks that I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Damn, fucking high rolling
Yeah.
Brian. So salesman, and you're a salesman and like what, inspection manager or something?
No, all I do is sales, but
He looks
I
too
have
fucking
like
good to
no.
be turning wrenches. I mean, come on now. Like, see, they gotta have this fucking face,
Hell, but
face of the company,
I'm a
man.
that's
good
why
talker,
when
man.
he is turning wrenches, those videos slap, kid. Just pretend you're turning wrenches. Just bring a couple
Same as
wrenches with you for the sale and just
same
pretend
as
you're doing something.
Bobby. I need like a mustache or something, man. I don't know. I need to do something.
Oh, you got the beard, you got the hair going back, man.
I need
Killing
some
it.
trademark. I need some trademark look. I'm gonna start wearing a fucking sombrero to work or something.
Once
Like,
But
you can
it's
start
pretty
wearing this
cool.
hat. I'm gonna start wearing my dope and tape hat.
So
you gotta. If you send me like a trucker hat, I'm down. But I'm not a fan of the straight bill.
The trucker hats are on the
we
website.
have trucker hats.
Whatever you
All
want's on
right.
there. We got a maternity line, bro.
Yeah.
Maternity
We got clothes for the kids, toddlers, kids, whatever you want, whatever you need, kid.
line.
We got a
Right
pillow
on.
with the logo on it. You want to get a teddy bear for Valentine's Day? We got you. Dopeandtape.com.
I want a fucking.
No,
I want a
it's not
fucking dope and tape.
dopeandtape.com. Just kidding.
I want a dope and tape mustache. That's what I want. You
Ooh,
gotta make some fake mustaches.
and
You
send them
gotta
out
do it.
like some glue-ons.
Yeah, man.
It's a good idea.
Look it up.
I think eventually we'll do it like a raffle for like 20 shirts of Bobby's face and it says blowout Bobby underneath it.
Oh man, yeah, we got to sell like at least 1,000 tickets and only one shirt's going out. You bastards.
And Bobby sign it.
You guys are gonna jinx me.
Blow your back out, Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's awesome.
that's awesome.
We got a lot of people watching on Twitch. Watchers.
Wow.
A lot of Twitch people. I love it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for having Twitch.
That's what
Thank you so much.
That's what I usually watch you guys at. If I watch on Twitch.
Okay. Love
Tell
it.
them what they need to do, Bobby.
Well, if you would subscribe on YouTube, we'd greatly appreciate it, or follow on Twitch. Hit that like button. It sends it out so we can reach a bigger crowd. We're trying to get to the teenage group the teenage demographic of young boys to get into this trade,
Right,
and
right.
and girls and women if they want to, but mostly we want some 18-year-old little whippersnappers to come in here and start hanging pipe with us. It's the
Yeah,
future. It's
because
the
we're fucking
future of
old.
our. It's the future of our industry, and it's an old industry, and that goes for the entire construction industry as a whole. So join a trade. It's a skill you have forever. It's a skill you never use. Skill you never lose.
I think oh man, who fucking said that? I watched this video the other day and it like hit the nail on the head. It was basically saying that I can't remember who it was. It was someone like fucking billionaire, but he was like, look, he said he would recommend everybody to learn a trade because he said, okay, say you learn a trade for 5 years, right? And you say, fuck this ain't for me. I mean, if you haven't fucked your life up too bad to where you need the money, you could literally start over. You could still like go to college and get a degree and go do something else, but you always have the trade
You
to
can
fall back
always
on.
go
I was like,
back and
that's
be that.
Always.
You
yeah,
never
like he
lose
was
it.
saying, like he was basically saying, like, yeah, he was like, you could even start a business, and if your business flops, you have the trade to fall back on. I was like, dude,
One
that's
hundred
the fucking
percent.
like
You know, I had that
that's
same
like one of the best.
conversation with my wife. We have Azul coffee,
Yeah, hey,
and
is that
you know,
y'all's line?
yeah, hmm
Oh, that's what's up, man.
yeah, we're just supporting small farms in Colombia.
Azul's going to
Right
be the
on.
first sponsor of the Dope and Tape Show.
How can we
We're
order
looking
some
for
of that
sponsors of
shit?
the show. If you want to run an ad,
Yeah, I have a store. The store's up. You
reach
could
out.
be our first person to
All right.
order the coffee. We've been selling a lot in Atlanta. You know,
Mhm.
from the people we know in Atlanta, but we just launched a store
You were doing
in
pop-ups,
So like
right,
Louisiana.
Brian?
I'll send it to you.
you're shipping now. I got you.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great
Well,
coffee. I
I
tried it.
wasn't shipping before because it was expensive, so I had to like find a way to make it cheaper.
Yeah,
But the coffee's incredible. You know how normal coffee you buy it and then it's
yeah,
like very acidic sometimes and sometimes bitter.
yeah.
It's because
Azul is that damn good
they're
coffee.
doing they're
Do you
picking
got it in?
the huh?
I know this is probably a stupid question, but do you got it in K cups yet? Probably not yet, right?
No,
Eventually.
no, 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 no. No, this is coming from a small farm. We
I
like
got you. I'm just
yeah.
asking.
And they're hand picking each bean and then
Whew.
that's why we can maintain the quality.
I got you. Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm gonna order some, man. You know, she loves coffee, man. You know, Latinas, man, they drink that
It's
shit like three
bro, it's
times
the
a day.
best coffee you'll ever. I mean, it's sex in a cup, bro. I
It
mean, if
is
you
the
love coffee,
best.
yeah, it really is because it's so. I mean, every batch that we prepare, the farmer who prepared it, his name is on the bag.
That's what's up.
Damn.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
every two
super
bags that you
small.
drink, the
It's
farmer's gonna
gold.
come and help you hang pipe too.
Yeah, put on some overalls and a hard hat. Get us some thorough goods. Welcome to America, baby.
That's
Let's go.
awesome. Yeah, so we're thinking Azul is going to be the first sponsor of our show. We'd like to start getting sponsors potentially at the beginning of the show. If there's anybody out there in the market, want a 30-second ad in the beginning of the Dope and Tape show, reach out to us.
So what's
Vitalik
going on?
Viking, where the fuck
Like what I was telling Sarah is like if Azul like crash like if let's say it doesn't work for whatever reason, right? Hurricane something destroys a farm or whatever, we had to like regroup for a little bit, then I can always hang pipe.
You're still a
Yeah, for
sprinkler
sure.
Like
fitter, baby. They
bro,
can't take that away
I
from
can
you.
start anywhere next day. I can knock on the door, hey, sign me up. Let me go hang some pipe. Give me a
Brian's
truck.
back to doing inspecting, baby.
Let's go.
They would take you back in a heartbeat.
100%.
Learn a trade, learn a skill. You
That's
keep it
another thing.
forever. Steve says it's good coffee. I say it's good
That's another
coffee.
thing
Get on Azul
that I've
and
covered.
hit up Brian and get some coffee. Send it right
You
out
were
to you.
talking about you were talking about earlier, not to get off topic, but you were talking about earlier about some life lessons. Another thing I'll tell you is I've learned this the hard way over the years, but man, try not to burn bridges at companies either, because like that our industry is super awesome, like big, expanding, but it's also really still super small.
Very
Like I
small.
meet people that I've known,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you were here, you were there," and I'm like, "Yeah, it was me." So
Yeah, don't
like the
burn bridges.
last company I left before this company, I left kind of abruptly, but like I still put a 2 weeks in. I quit. Like I quit with dignity. I turned in all my stuff. I didn't keep nothing. Like, I brought them the stuff back to the shop. I didn't like leave and storm out of there. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, man, like not burning bridges is huge. And I've learned that the hard way over the years. Cause like I definitely burned a shitload of bridges when I was younger. I'd be like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah,
But
And you're
and
never going back after that.
mean, pretty
As
much. I mean,
small
you
as our industry
we'll give
is,
it a shot, but
everybody knows if you did that, everybody knows like the next day,
yeah.
if not same day.
Yeah,
Everybody's calling everybody.
for
Hmm.
sure.
Like this guy left the van on the side of the road. He left it at CVS. Said, "Come get the keys." Like people
Yep.
know that.
I
And
left
then
it
if
Like,
you,
running. It's at McDonald's. Come and get it.
dude, if something happens in our industry from a guy, my phone rings from Atlanta. Like
yeah,
I know about it.
It's small,
it's like
especially
it's
now with the
crazy
dope
what
and
that.
tape community, baby. We're all connected.
Yep.
So
It's a
conduct
super.
yourself
That's
professionally.
that's great advice. How about a pet peeve? You got a pet peeve? What's something that really just chaps your ass?
Uh,
How about you,
there's a
Bry?
couple things. There's a few things.
When I tell you to go do something, like I told the apprentice to go do something, like it's something that like small, like minuscule. Like I could do it very easy, but I send you anyway, and then you give me a little attitude. Oh, it freaks out. But
Yeah.
if someone else is not like respectful of my time or of me, it that gets on my nerves.
I'm big on
That gets
like
Alex has
I'm
calmed me
big
down several times on a job site.
a super like a pet peeve of mine is when I like it gets on my nerves when guys aren't like when they don't leave notes about shit because inspections that can like save you a lot of fucking grief. You know what I mean? Like for example, I'm just trying to think of like a good
A little bit of paint marker right above the dry valve, like, hey, this one low point takes most of the water, whatever. There's always good
or
little
like
notes.
or like something
Yeah.
like I'm just trying to think like of a situation because I mean I'll go tomorrow and I'll have one like be careful when you're draining this fucking valve because it's going to blow up out of the drip cup and fucking make a huge mess in the room
Low
or
point
like
drain in the bathroom in the back.
yeah like
You know?
or yeah or like instead of just saying above ceiling well all right, give me some fucking details guys above ceiling outside stair 3 in the access panel or something like give me a fucking note or anything like didn't didn't check this flow switch because it shunts the elevator. I think Brian was talking about that a couple months ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. I mean, because that shit can like the next guy comes behind you. We're like, if I'm going in a building I've never been in before, it's like it's basically a new building to me, even though our company has done it 5 or 6 times. You know what I mean? It's new to me.
I
So
just
it's like I'm
recently
going in
learned
blind.
about a shunt where I was called that these guys, this contractor took over the testing in the hospital and they just were doing the testing on the pre-action and tripped the shunt and it shut down all their computers in the
That
hospital, like
sucks.
while there was
That's the
patients there and
EPO.
shit. And
Yeah, that's like
that was not good. So then when they came to
yeah,
the new building, they were asking me to like, does this have a shunt? I'm like, does it have a what?
yeah.
A
A
fucking
shunt.
shunt?
That's
What are
like
you
a
talking about, Bubs? I had to make a call.
So essentially, I've learned about it, and all it basically is like a 120-volt breaker that trips another breaker. Like so, like it's basically like that's the context on just say a flow switch close, and they basically connect like the neutral and the positive. I'm assuming to that breaker, and the breaker just trips.
Oh, we
Boom.
got some in the chat. Steve says that the air pressure is more than water pressure. Turpy Daniel says passwords to put systems on test. I spend most of my time waiting for managers to figure that shit out. Why? Yeah, just write the if there's a password, it should be written right on the inside of the panel. Because if someone's in there with
Yeah.
their key, I mean,
Like
just give them
in
the
the
fucking
corner.
password in the corner. The
You'd be
password,
surprised.
the username, and the number to the fire department, and the box
You'd be
number.
surprised how many times it's not though, and then like it's usually the buildings where it's not. Then the fucking manager has like no clue. They're like, "Well, we don't know. You guys usually do it." I'm like, "Well, I'd like to know what the fuck they were doing."
It's got
Because
to
like
be
I'm
written
not a manager.
somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That is annoying though. That is huge. It can take you like like Brian was saying, jumping in, just getting right out of the truck, keep rolling, and that shit can take you like
That
fucking
fucking
30 or 40 minutes.
take the
Yeah.
wind right out
Yeah.
of your sail. This was a
I'll
good
get
show.
it'll get my that shit'll get annoying
This was
real
good
quick, man.
catching up with you, Donnie.
Yeah, man,
Man,
definitely.
thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you guys for watching. If you're still
Like
watching,
and subscribe and comment, even if it's just, saying hello.
that's
Whoever
it.
don't like and subscribe is gonna flood a fucking building tomorrow. So like and subscribe.
Oh, dang. Woo! I like that one.
You heard him.
You heard
Heard
the
him, you better
man.
do it. Better do it and
If
knock
you're
on
a
some wood.
sprinkler guy and you don't like and subscribe this right now, you're guaranteed you're gonna flood some shit tomorrow.
Boom! I played the to-doom-ch. So I have a
Fucking-
soundboard now that I play with. I'm trying not to overdo it. But still looking for a little bit of feedback on the soundboard. The music you hear in the
How it's
beginning,
done, baby.
I might fade us out with a little bit of music right now, but all feedback is good feedback. If we're doing something you don't like, let us know. If we're not doing something that you want to see, let us know. We can change it up, whatever you want. Freddie Jackson, thank you for the follow. It's our first follow on Twitch in 17 days.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, that guy's superstitious.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you better do
Donnie,
it.
I'm liking this.
he's like, oh, fuck.
Oh man, I'm in it now.
Oh, shit. All right, so what do we got? Thursday, we're going on with J-Mac. Last episode with J-Mac, Brian was busy, so this will be a good episode. Maybe we'll have J-Mac bring his tools in. No, he's out. He's a fitter out from my way. He came on and we
Nice.
did we had brought our tool bags in and did like a tool bag episode.
I got a couple things
I'm
to show
not
you
fucking
guys.
bringing my tool bag in. I'm just gonna take my fucking phone out to the van because the whole
Dude's
van
got
is my-
mad. He's got mad gadgets, J-Mac. Oh my god! And he's got a. He's also a barber, and he carries it around in like a toolkit, and he'll cut your hair on the job at break time.
Holy
Bro, that's
shit!
Dope.
A
Ah,
barber
that's so
slash
cool.
It's a
man?
hustler. He's like, we got to finish up with lunch, so I can cut this guy's hair. Have a quick
Man, he
lunch.
Holy
sounds so
shit.
much like me.
Make
Like,
quick $40 on break. Huh?
boom, done.
J-Mac on
So he's a-
Thursday.
He's a sprinkler guy slash barber.
Yep.
I gotta fucking watch this show on Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Tune in.
for
You guys
sure.
tune in as well.
Has all
Everybody,
the gadgets, stuff you haven't even seen before.
this is
My
awesome.
man starts breaking out the fucking level and start tapering you up. Like, hold on, you're a little off.
He's got lasers that attach to his level, and he's got every kind of grid stick. You'll see. Tune in on Thursday if you want to see all J-Mac's tools. Shout out to J-Mac.
Shout out to J
He just
Mac.
breaks. Hey, imagine he just breaks out the torpedo level and starts giving you a shape. I'm like, little off.
That's awesome.
That's all.
All right, guys. As always, thank you for watching, whether you're watching us live or
Thank you
replay.
so much.
We appreciate you. Don, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. No worries, guys.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to check out the Dope
Appreciate
and
it.
Tape shop if you want to get a hat. Everybody have a good night. Dope and Tape out.